Hi, so this video is going to be about IELTS speaking. So what is IELTS speaking test? IELTS speaking is a one-on-one interview between you, the candidate, and an IELTS examiner. It has 3 parts and it is about 12 to 15 minutes. So how to be successful in IELTS speaking? We all know that to be successful in IELTS, you need English ability, IELTS skills, and IELTS knowledge. So what are these 3 things in IELTS speaking? First of all, you need vocabulary and grammar. You also need IELTS speaking skills. And about IELTS knowledge, it's basically about your understanding of the 4 marking criteria and the 3 speaking parts. So what are these 3 speaking parts? Number 1 is introduction and interview. Part 2 is individual long term, and part 3 is called two-way discussion. Common topics in IELTS speaking are, in part 1, all of the part 1 questions are going to be about your personal information. Part 2, you talk about topics like sports, art, book, people, personal events in your life, business, internet, social issues. So these are all very common topics and everyone should have some level of understanding about them. Everyone should be able to talk about them. Part 3 is similar to part 2, meaning if in part 2 you talk about sports, in part 3 you also talk about sports. The 4 marking criteria are 1. Fluency and coherence. 2. Lexical resource or your vocabulary bank. 3 is grammatical range and accuracy. And 4 is pronunciation. We'll go into details later on. The most important thing about speaking test is your ability to communicate. Remember, you don't need to speak fancy words or rare idioms. All you need to do is communicate your ideas clearly to the examiner. I think this is a very practical thing about IELTS test. When you learn a language, the only goal that you're looking for is communicating in that language. In this module, we're looking at detailed information about each part of the speaking test, common topics, IELTS speaking skills, which are going to be very useful in your real exam, details on the 4 marking criteria, and last but not least, how you can study the IELTS speaking by yourself.